Voice Action Episode 1 for the month of January. Wait, what? What month is this?
Wow, it's March. Hello everyone, my name is Chris Rosewood, and this is Voice Action. I'm here with...
John-Edvard! That's me.
And we are back with the actual first episode of our podcast that we were supposed to do in January. And as you can see, we're just a tad bit behind on that.
A couple of seconds too late.
Yeah, missed it by, that much, just like almost 3 months.
But technically this is our third episode, because we've recorded the episode 0 where we, explained the idea of the podcast.
Right.
Then, the audience don't know this, but we actually recorded the actual first episode, but then my computer crashed and it all got deleted.
Yeah, so it became the Lost Forever episode.
The Lost Episodes. This feels like Dragon Ball Z. And now we're back for the first episode. Woo!
Yay! Third time's a charm.
Yeah. So, Chris, what happened to the podcast?
Well, we made some changes. First off, we were going to try to do this, like, every other week. Yeah. Weren't we a little naive? We decided that trying to do this every other week with our conflicting schedules and time difference and work going on, because, as you guys know, or don't know, we do this for free. We don't get sponsored for any of this. This is just something we do just because it's fun. We actually have other jobs that we do besides this. So,
like voice acting.
Yeah, like voice acting, for example. But we decided that with all these things going on and a lot of things going on where we just weren't able to get a good time for us to sit down and record every other week, we decided to do it once a month. So we are going to record this one for the month of March, and then we're going to do one for April, and then one for May, and so on and so forth until something changes. So that would probably be if you're looking for the next episodes after this one, that would probably be our next schedule as we go forward.
Yep, we're gonna be moving to once a month, but we're still gonna do the podcast, so there's some bad news and good news. And, hey, it's all for the best of the show. Because if we were gonna do this every 2 weeks, it would last 2 minutes and have nothing in it.
Yeah, there'd be no depth to it. It'd probably be us just be like, hey, it's Chris and John-Edvard, and we're leaving. See ya!
Bye!
Roll credits.
Yes. Wait, we have credits? We can't afford that.
We have no budget.
Okay, so, yeah. We've told you what the show is gonna be. So we thought we could start the first... not start the first episode. We're too late for that. But, use the first episode to introduce ourselves. To, let you know us and who we are. And I was about to say what we are, but we're humans.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, somebody out there is probably going to get offended or something. Hey, I am more aligned with a toaster. I don't know. This is triggering me.
If you're a toaster, I shall make a toast for you.
Sure. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All us humans, men, women, and creatures and people of the internet and mythical creatures and whatnot. Here we are. So
I don't discriminate. Just hey, if you're listening, that's great. Hello, toasters of the world.
But for
how
real,
did we get here? So, what was this podcast about again?
Right, it was about toasters. But for real,
toast action.
For real, guys, we're glad you're listening. We do really appreciate that, and we appreciate you guys taking such an interest in this. But we are going to continue the podcast. It's still going to have the same format as before. If you don't know what that is, you can check out episode 0. That has our format in it and how the show's going to go. Everything's just going to go that exact same way until further notice. If something does change, don't worry. We're not just going to be like, TV networks and just be like, yep, we're going to do this and you're going to like it. No, we're actually going to let you guys know if something's changing, and if there's things that you guys want to see that we're not doing. We're definitely wanting feedback for that.
Yeah.
So, now that we've got all the housekeeping out of the way, we might as well go into the next bit of our show, which is our interviews.
Woo!
Yay!
So, as I mentioned, our first interview is going to be with, Chris.
Yes!
So, Chris, what is your name?
My name is Chris Rosewood. I know. Shocker. I am from Hot Springs, Arkansas, which is in the United States, for those of you who are outside the U.S. Mainly, I just like to play video games and watch TV and just do things that most normal people do, I guess.
Like talk to toasters?
Yes, like talk to toasters. I love you, toasters.
Whoa, calm down, Chris. We're tolerating them. I didn't say we loved them yet.
Yet. I love my toaster. It makes some amazing toast.
Well, I don't think I have a toaster, actually.
What? I thought we weren't going to discriminate. You don't even have a toaster.
Well, but I don't have anything against toasters. I just don't need a toaster right now. Let's move on. So, Chris, what do you do for a living, except playing video games and talking with toasters?
I am what you would call the tech geek where I work. I'm basically the technical support personnel, but I'm also the web designer and graphic designer and email marketer for this insurance company I work at. Now, if any of you out there have questions about insurance, please don't ask me. I have no clue. I know people who do, but the whole insurance thing is completely out of my league.
I don't know, I just work here.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. How did you get into voice acting?
When I was a kid, and I watched a lot of cartoons, and I've always been fascinated by the characters that you see in cartoons and stuff, because it's those things that you don't see in real life that you kind of cherish whenever you're a kid. And as I got older, I started realizing, hey, all of these characters have people that voice them. That would be fun. So I started researching how people act and do voice acting for different characters and narrations and voiceovers. And it was one of those things that I thought, I think I would have fun doing this. And I had lots of people, like my beautiful fiance, for example. She is one of the few people that have said, you've definitely got the voice for it, so you should definitely go do it. So, here I am.
Ta-da! You were mentioning you're watching cartoons. What's your favorite cartoon?
I would have to say my all-time favorite cartoon from whenever I was a little kid was probably Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry was just one of those classics that you can't replace. Any others that would come in close to that would probably be Looney Tunes, not just because Looney Tunes was funny, but they also had great musical scores, and you had great voice actors like Mel Blanc, who could do hundreds of thousands of voices. That's a little bit exaggerated, but almost not, because if you hear a Looney Tunes character, you're hearing Mel Blanc's voice or impersonation of his voice. There are many cartoons I like. Those aren't just the ones I'm limited to. I even like cartoons that some people have never even heard of, or some cartoons that people have stumbled upon over the internet. Mainly just things that have a good story, or if they make me laugh till I'm about to cry. Those are the cartoons I like.
Do you have any other hobbies?
As I said earlier, I do like video games. I used to play video games almost all the time, but now I haven't been playing them as much, mainly because I haven't been able to afford any more new games that have been coming out recently. Mainly because I've been working mostly on learning animation and trying to figure out how to do more stuff and kind of expand what I do and just have more fun with things. So, anyway, I also like, as I said, animation. It's something I just started getting into fairly recently. I've loved cartoons since I was a kid, and I wanted to always be one of those guys that could be like, I wanted to make one. So that's where I'm at now. Trying to just slowly go through the baby steps of learning how to be an animator. I like to draw. I sing every once in a while. I actually did a video on my channel back during Christmas for Let It Snow, actually, just because I wanted to do something a little different.
Oh, cool.
I do like to sing every now and then. I'm not very good at playing musical instruments. I can play a couple of them barely, just enough to get by. Yeah, that's about it, besides going out and watching TV, cartoons, or just going out in nature or something and looking around at stuff. Because for those of you who have been around Arkansas, you already know this, but those who don't, Arkansas is a very, very beautiful place whenever it comes to scenery. There's just there's so many different wooded areas, and if you're in places like Hot Springs where you've got like actual history and like historical monuments and stuff here, it's really cool to see.
So your hobbies are sitting down and walking?
Yeah, basically sitting down and walking. One is looking at scenery from inside my house, and the other one is looking at scenery from outside my house. Just different perspectives of it.
You mentioned the video games. What's your favorite video game?
Oh, I have a lot of favorite video games, but
That's cheating! You have to pick one!
If I had to pick one, I would probably have to pick the Mega Man X series specifically. I know lots of people are like, why not just the regular Mega Man series? It was mainly because whenever I first started really getting into games and stuff, one of the main games I really fell in love with was the Mega Man X games. It had a cool storyline in the background. The graphics were pretty good for back then. The visuals were wonderful. The gameplay was very fluid. It's just one of those games that even now I still sit down and pick up and play every now and then, just because it brings back that nostalgia, and it's just, it's a lot of fun to play.
What was your first voice acting role? Like, professionally?
My first professional role. I was doing I had actually met this guy on Newgrounds. His name is Shane Frost. Shane Frost makes comics, and a lot of them are, I guess you can call them like self-help, or more of a, I'm going through this, so I'm going to draw/write about it at the same time. And he asked me to do a narration for what's called art block, kind of like writer's block, but like for people that start drawing something or working on something and then just stop. The best way for me to explain it is I used to write books or write novels, and I would be able to see the beginning of the novel and the end of the novel, and then by the time I got to the middle of it, I just couldn't see where it was going to go and just stopped and put it down and never picked it back up again. That's kind of what writer's block or art block is like. This guy asked me he said, hey, I heard you're starting out in voice acting, and I was wondering if you wanted to voice this character I've got. I said, sure, what is it? He goes, it's a teenage cat with social anxiety that's kind of nervous to talk to people, and he's talking to people about art block. And I thought, as a guy with social anxiety, this is perfect. So I did the role, and it was actually pretty fun to do. I had to do a couple of takes on it, because a couple of them I would screw up, and then I wouldn't even send those to him. And then once I got the ones I wanted, he wanted just a few little tweaks in it. I actually got paid for it. I didn't expect to, but he said he really liked what I did and decided to give me a little bit of compensation for it. So that was my very first voice acting role professionally. I had done a couple of other little projects before. Never really did anything professional until then, or at least something I got compensated for.
Do you have any fun upcoming projects we should be looking for?
A little while back, the Modern Christmas Carol just came out. I know it's a little late because we were trying to get it done before Christmas, but Jesse Ewan, who was working on it, by the way, if I mispronounce your name, Jesse, I apologize.
It's pronounced Jessois.
She was getting a lot of people together, and she was working really hard on this project, and it involved lots of other people. It wasn't just me working on it. It wasn't just her working on it. There were some people that were going to work on it, and then they, there was one person she needed a voice actor for, and they couldn't find one for her, for that specific character. So it took a little while for it to actually finally get put together and edited and published and actually sounding good. But it's actually out. It came out, I think, earlier this month or late last month. I can't remember without looking or having it in front of me. That one's done. I am working on, as of right now, just little funny animations I'm trying to put together, mainly experimental stuff, just to figure out my art style and figure out how to completely go through the animation process. I've never had to do it before, and it's kind of a way for me to say, hey, I'm learning animation, but while I'm learning it, you can see the different steps I'm taking as I go forward.
So now I know everything about you, Chris.
Well, almost everything. All right, so guess what?
It's
your turn now. What's your name?
Chris Rosewood?
Wrong answer.
Insert name here. Okay. My name is John-Edvard, and I'm from Norway, which is a country far up in the northwest for you Americans, if you're from the US.
Yes.
I live just outside a town called Bergen, where it always rains. And no, there's no trolls here. And yes, it is very cold here. No, I do not know the Swedish chef.
What do you do for a living, then, in Norway?
Let's see. What do I do for a living? Well, I work for an entertainment company, which works with live entertainment. Anything from company parties to big concerts. Within that, I also run together with one other person. We run the media department. So we produce ads for different events, and we also produce ads for different companies. And we produce graphics and posters and flyers, and we also do some radio commercials and stuff like that. So I get to voice act.
So you get to do what you like whenever you're working with this company, I take it.
Yeah, I love doing it. There's good things and bad things. One of the things with this job is that, as I say to people I know, I work Monday through Friday plus the weekends.
Yeah.
So there's not a bunch of free time. There's not a bunch of free time, but when you love your work, it's not work anymore. If you know what I'm saying.
It's like what they say. If you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I gotta say, I think if it was voice acting or even just, as you said, live entertainment and stuff like that, that would just be fun unless you just really didn't like being an entertainer or anything.
Yeah, sure. And it's not as glamorous as it maybe sounds, because we work in a small office, and we have to drive forklifts to get equipment here and there. We have to carry a lot of stuff, and not everything's the glamorous side. And what people think of as the glamorous side of entertainment, we usually don't deal with, because we're the guys behind the scenes running and sweating and getting the stuff done. But I still love it, because after all, we're entertaining people, and that's what I live for.
And not to mention, you get to actually see a side of the entertainment industry that not many people get to see. You actually get to see what happens pre-production, post-production, mid-production, and all the other stuff that a lot of people don't get to see, which, in a sense, helps build your knowledge of the entertainment side of things.
Very true. And what's also good is, because this is Norway, especially Bergen, which isn't the capital of Norway. There's kind of a smaller communities for everything. So the guys working in sound studios also usually work with live sound, because there's not enough work to just work at a studio. So, for example, I met a guy working at a studio doing a job for a company party, and now we met, and I'm actually going to go audition for their studio in a few weeks.
Oh, I'm sure you get a lot of different opportunities there too, whenever it comes to not just what the company does, but also like your own little side projects, right?
Yeah, I do. And stuff like I mentioned, when we produce radio ads and commercials, I get to kind of challenge myself both as a director and as a voice actor, because sometimes I'll do the voice myself, and I'll get to challenge myself in doing radio ads, because that's actually kind of tricky, doing a radio ad and sounding convincing. So I get to challenge myself doing that, and then I also get to challenge myself as a director when we hire in actors or other guys to read the voices. I get to challenge myself as a director, which again gives me more gives me more knowledge about voice acting.
That's really neat. It sounds like you have a lot, or I would say probably a lot more fun at your job than I do.
Well, I love my job, but any job could be fun if you just like it. So I'm presuming you don't hate your job, because then you wouldn't be working there. But
yeah, I don't hate my job. I do have my days of I just don't want to do anything today, or I'd much rather be doing animation, or I'd much rather be doing voice acting, or I'd much rather be doing blank than sitting in my office right now.
Yeah, but I get the same thing. Sometimes I'm doing, if either I'm out doing an event, or I'm in writing stuff, or doing stuff like, I just want to get home right now and play video games and sleep. But So not every like I said, it's not that glamorous. But so I have my days when it's not fun being in the entertainment business. If that's any help.
That happens with every job. It doesn't matter if it's something you like or don't like. There will be a time where you just want to take a break. Anyway, I know this is kind of explained, but how did you get into voice acting exactly?
Well, actually, I didn't get into voice acting through my job. It started when when I was little. Since I live in Norway, we had dubbed cartoons. The U.S. cartoons, stuff like the Gummy Bears and lots of the Disney afternoon shows like DuckTales and stuff like that. And I would always be fascinated by watching cartoons. And as I said, in Norway, there's kind of a smaller community around voice acting. So we recognize actors from there and there and there. Oh, that's that guy, and they have the similar voices and yada yada. And as I grew up watching cartoons, I would learn to recognize different voices, and I would, hey, that sounds fun. Like you said, hey, I want to have that job. So when I got old enough, I started buying cheap microphones for my computer and started recording myself. Oh, this is fun. And I started putting, the audio to videos I found online, and I really liked it. And then a few years ago, I got to record a demo at a real studio, actually, at a voice acting class with the Norwegian voice of Anakin Skywalker. Not bragging or anything. And, I recorded a demo and I sent it out to a couple of studios where I live. And I got a job. I just started, being interested in voice acting by listening to it and just, listening to myself and listening to other voice actors.
Well, hey, at least you got to get a kickstart on your whole voice acting career when it came to that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Getting to meet, both getting to meet one of my huge idols. His name is Eric Schuld. He plays Anakin and Handy Manny and Brock from Pokemon. It's like first meeting him and then, getting to try voice acting and then getting to record your own demo. And then, after a few months of sending that out, actually getting to do voice work, it was awesome.
That sounds awesome, actually. Like that. I mean, that's like something I wish I could do right now.
Well, you can consider it a trade-off. I don't get nearly as much work online because of I'm Norwegian and my English sometimes isn't good enough for the project, so I don't get as much work online. But you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, still at least you do get a lot of opportunities though. Like I'm sure you get opportunities for doing dubs and stuff, right?
Yeah, I do on a semi-regular basis. So I love having the opportunity to do stuff like that. But, one thing that I also say to a lot of actors is, not a lot of actors, I say to people is that I appreciate every job I get. If that's something I do for free for an online production, or it's, in a studio, I appreciate everything.
And that's true or at least it should be true for people who are doing stuff like that. Because, I mean, whenever somebody offers you, like, hey, I kind of like the way that you do your stuff, so here's a job offer, or here's a project I'm working on. In a sense, it's flattering. In a sense,
yeah.
It's basically saying in a very non-weird way. It's like saying, "Hey, I like your voice. Let's work on a project," and it's cool. Anytime I get a project, it always makes me really happy to work on something because I get to do something I like doing. The coolest part of it is I don't have to leave my house to do it because that's where all my recording equipment is. You mentioned like cartoons and stuff, since you did a lot of voice acting, or at least you got interested in voice acting because of like seeing cartoons and people and recognizing their voices. Do you have a favorite cartoon that you like if you had to pick one?
Ooh, if I had to pick one. In general, I've noticed as I'm growing up, I'm becoming a bigger fan of superhero cartoons just because I like a continuing story. And, I think my favorite cartoon would have to be Spectacular Spider-Man because it has a distinct art style. It's not trying to be realistic. It's having its own style, and it has a great voice cast with Josh Keaton and James Arnold Taylor and Steve Bloom. And it's a short and sweet series, 26 episodes. If you have 26 episodes of time worth on your hands, watch Spectacular Spider-Man.
I may actually pick that up because when I was a kid, I used to watch Spider-Man a lot. I for some reason, the movies, when I watched the first few movies when they came out, and they were pretty good, but I really didn't watch the other ones because I guess it kind of ruined it for me in a sense. So I need to go ahead and pick up the cartoons and start watching them again because that has the nostalgia factor.
And I would say, Spectacular Spider-Man is actually considered one of the best Spider-Man things ever, including the cartoons. No, the comics.
Huh.
So, I think there's actually a Blu-ray set with the complete series on Amazon.
I might have to pick one of those up, or at least see if they have something on Netflix or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they have it, but I would recommend that very much. Both as a great series, but also because it's the voice acting is wonderful, and you also get to many of the actors also get to show how diverse their voices can be, because you have guys like James Arnold Taylor, who plays like Harry Osborn, Peter's friend, and I also think he plays like 2 or 3 villains and some random people here and there in the same show. And it's not bothering you because he does such a good job.
You don't instantly hear it and go, wait a minute, that's the same guy.
Yeah, you don't think, oh, that's cheap. You just think, oh, he's good.
Yeah, it's more of like, for those of you who don't know, that sort of thing is really hard to do. I've done other voices and stuff, but mainly to make myself sound different, I actually have to, in some of the stuff I do, I have to digitally adjust my pitch or something to make myself sound completely different. Unless, of course, I do a completely different accent or something to make myself sound different.
Yeah, sure. And if you try to do it and it doesn't work out, it just becomes a bad experience for both the producer and you as an actor.
Right.
So just for fun, I just checked, and they have the entire Spectacular Spider-Man series on Blu-ray for $20.
Yeah, I may have to look at that and possibly pick it up or something if I have to, because that just sounds like fun. I'm gonna check it on Netflix a little bit later today to see if I have any of that on there.
Awesome.
Besides cartoons, do you have any hobbies?
Video games!
Video games!
So yeah, same as you, I love playing video games, and I would do it all day long, but now I don't have the time anymore, so I play... you said you couldn't afford any new games. I didn't have time for new games. I just bought the brand new game, Pokemon Blue, for the 3DS. So, instead of using time on new games, I'm buying 20-year-old games.
I've actually been looking into like free indie games online, because sometimes you'll find some really fun games to play that sometimes are really short. Some of them can be disappointing, but other ones can just be like, for example, I started playing this game called Crowtel recently, where you play as this little crow who owns a hotel. These 2 health inspector cats come in, and they're wanting to inspect your hotel. You keep them waiting in the lobby while you run in through the hotel to try to clean stuff. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but just if you get a chance to pick it up and play it. It's worth it. It's a lot of fun. I can't say I've had that much fun in a 2D platformer in a long time. So I would say go ahead and pick it up and try it out. The dialogue's funny. It's just worth it.
So yeah, my hobbies are video games, and I also play drums.
Oh, you're a drummer.
I'm a drummer, so that's fun. I play anything from blues to pop rock and rock.
You could do a lot better than me then, because I do have a drum set, but I don't play it very much, so you've definitely got me skilled there. I can beatbox though, so that counts.
I can beat a box, but I can't beatbox.
I actually have a box drum or a cajon.
Oh yeah, cool.
In my bedroom too, so that's funny.
Yeah, I'm thinking of buying one, but it's expensive.
It is expensive. You can make one, but it takes time and experience in carpentry.
So what you're saying is I can't make one.
If you're not good at carpentry, then no, you probably can't unless you spent a lot of time on it.
I'm not going to make a cajon because it's just going to be a cardboard box.
Hey, if it works, it works.
I don't think a cardboard box would work.
So, you like video games. Do you have a favorite one that you could pick?
Ooh, yeah, actually. Sly Cooper 2, Band of Thieves, for the PlayStation 2. If you don't know what Sly Cooper, it's, it's a series made by Sucker Punch for the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. It's a 3D platformer, and it's kind of like, as many people would describe many games, it's a living cartoon. It's a fun 3D platformer with a cool plot and some really good voice acting. So I would recommend either getting the PlayStation 2 game Sly 2 or the Sly HD collection.
I didn't know that Sucker Punch was the producer for that.
Yeah, Sucker Punch which also produced the infamous series. I don't remember what they started out with, but their PlayStation 2 in the PlayStation 2 era, they made Sly Cooper, and also some of you may know there's a Sly 4 that came out a few years ago. That was made by Zanzuru Games, who made the HD collection.
Your first voice acting role, commercially, a professional type of voice acting role. You mentioned that you did a demo in a studio, but that wasn't a commercial work, was it?
No. That was just just to send out to the different studios.
What was your first type of commercial voice acting role?
My first job was for a series called Skinner Boys, which we were dubbing an Australian animation about. Kind of like Indiana Jones, but with a group of boys and a girl. And the first part I had was dubbing a small drummer. But it wasn't a drummer, it was like a weird green thing. Kind of imagine if someone mixed Yoda and Stitch. And he had
That's a weird combination.
And he had a weird Jamaican-Italian accent.
Jamaica-Italian.
Yes.
sounds like a Starbucks drink.
Well, he speaks something like this. Only in Norwegian. So that was my first job, which was really fun because, I love voicing weird characters. So I did the Norwegian dub of that, which was the first thing I did, which was really fun. It was actually kind of funny. The first time I came to the studio, which was when I dubbed this, I talked a bit with the director beforehand via email, and I said, hey, I like to voice weird characters. And I just walked in the studio and said hello, and he said, so, you like weird characters? Here's a green thing with a weird hat. And I just went, okay.
That'll work.
That's perfect.
I kind of feel you for the whole weird characters thing. Because whenever I first started doing little voice demos, I drew a little character who was basically, the Black Mage from Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, imagine him wearing street clothes, like a hoodie and jeans and stuff.
Wait, what?
Yeah, just imagine that for a minute. And I thought, I should put a voice to this character. So I started making little voices for it. And I liked where it was going, and I actually came up with an idea for a cartoon about it. I haven't had the chance to actually work a whole lot on it, but I did put together little voice skits and stuff for this character. I just had so much fun voicing him because he was one of those guys that I could do anything with. And it fits his character, just because that's how weird he is. Like, he's always got something random stuffed in his hood somewhere. Like, there's even one voice bite I did where the rent was due, and he didn't turn in the rent check, so he was searching through his hood to find something, ended up, like, pulling out a wrench and a couple of other things. And one of the things that managed to pop out of his hood was a monkey named Bubbles that he kept in his hood. And it took off running and started destroying the entire place.
Yeah, I love voicing weird characters, and I think lots of people would agree with me when I say that one of my dream characters to play is the Joker.
Yes, I totally agree with you on that one. Just the Joker's character and trying to get inside of that mindset is just really, in a sense, a demented form of fun.
Yeah, because that's the thing, just to talk about Joker for a moment. He's a character that everything is fun. Oh, someone died? That's fun. Oh, someone hit you? That's funny. Oh, I'm just walking down the street? That's hilarious.
Somebody just died? Classic comedy!
Oh, this is wonderful.
But yeah, his, watching his character development throughout the years, like, whenever you watched him in the original TV show that came out back in the, 60s, 70s? No, it wasn't 60s. I think it was 70s.
No. I think the first Batman show with Adam West was in the 60s.
Oh, okay. So I was right. And if we're wrong, I'm sure the comment section is going to blow up. But
they're going to do that because of the toasters anyway.
Yeah. Just watching his character development, the way he was in the first show, and then how he was in the cartoons, and then some of the other movies, like when he was played by Jack Nicholson, and then whenever he was played by Heath Ledger, how he's going to be played by this next actor, I can't remember what his name is, in Suicide Squad. It's just strange watching his character development, because at first it was just like, I'm going to mess with people, and then it became a lot more sinister, and then it came to I'm just going to completely destroy the Batman's brain. It's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and it's actually quite fascinating, because I've watched some of the interviews they did with the producers of the Batman animated series from the 90s. And, that was in a period where the Joker was, as you said, he was becoming darker and darker. And, but they were making a Saturday morning cartoon, so they couldn't have him kill anything. So, they managed to make this really sadistic and scary Joker that couldn't kill.
And it was kind of interesting, because I remember one episode watching, like, one of the Saturday morning cartoon versions of Batman, where the Joker had this laughing gas that he used to gas people with. They would have, like, this painfully huge smile on their face, just laying on the ground, basically dead, and it was really creepy to watch as a kid, but you just knew for a fact that the Joker was a messed up person just by watching that. I know this is kind of a little random too, but there was a show. I don't know if you got to see it in Norway, but it was called Courage the Cowardly Dog. Did you ever get to watch that show?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I really like Courage the Cowardly Dog because you had a lot of these different characters, and some of them were pretty violent, like, I'm going to eat you, or I'm going to let these spiders kill you, or turn you into a washing machine, the weird things like that. But there was one character named Freaky Fred, and that is my favorite episode because, one, it has amazing poetry and it's very well written, but two, Fred's personality, because Fred is a guy who, he's not hurting anybody, he's not going to kill anybody, he just wants to shave everybody. That's really all he does.
Is he the guy with the weird grin?
Yes, the weird grin and the blonde hair, and he was just really tall.
Oh, he's so creepy. Don't mention him.
Yeah, he's creepy, but he's not violent. That's the thing. Like, he would never, like, okay, let me bring that back. He would, if depending on if it was actually more of an adult show, he would probably hurt somebody. But as a kid's show, and the way that his reaction was, he wouldn't hurt a fly. He would just shave everything.
He would just shave the fly.
If it had hair, he would just shave it. Yeah, and I just thought that was hilarious as a kid. I mean, I know it was creepy the way that he was. As I kind of started getting a little older and I started thinking more about his character, it just started cracking me up. Because I was just like, why was I freaked out about him? All he did was shave people.
I shave myself now. Should I be scared of myself?
I think mainly it was just his sinister grin and the creepy music that they had in the background with him. Even the voice actor for it, because he just had that kind of creepy voice for him.
Hello.
Ah! Hello, new friend. My name is Fred. The words you hear are in my head. I said, my name is Fred. And I've been naughty.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I love it. I love that show. That was like my favorite episode on that one.
He was extremely creepy, but I loved him.
So, do you have any fun upcoming projects that we should be looking out for?
Yeah. I've been recording, and I think it's about to come out. It's Star Fox Abridged.
Awesome.
Actually, I believe it's Star Fox 64 Abridged. I'm a voice actor. I get paid to talk.
I know how to do words.
Yes. Star Fox 64 Abridged. I play Star Fox, Fox McCloud.
Awesome.
And I play Slippy. And I also play one more, but I forgot who it is. But I played 3 different characters, and it's a great show. I love the writing, and there's a trailer out, which I'll give you in the description, and when the first episode's out, we'll let you know.
I'm sitting here looking forward to seeing that, because Star Fox 64 was another great game I used to play as a kid. It was just wonderful, and you could replay it so many different times. It had just branching storyline. It was just really fun to play.
Yeah, and ironically, I never played Star Fox 64, but don't tell anyone.
Blasphemy.
And I played the main characters. Yes.
Yeah, but hey, the game is fun. They made a remake on the 3DS, basically really close to the original. If you have the chance to play it, I would definitely pick it up.
Yeah, I'm probably going to try and play that as soon as possible. So yeah, I have that project, and I'm also in the middle of recording an unofficial sequel to the animation called, I believe it's called Sonic Nazo something. The original. It's a kind of it's a continuation of. It's a Sonic original story, and we're recording a new sequel to it, which is really interesting. I like the script, and it's kind of fascinating because after we started working on our sequel, there's actually the original producer is going to make a sequel on their own. So, that's going to be cool.
Awesome. I actually think that's kind of funny. I did put in an audition. I don't know if I can actually talk about this or not, but I made an audition for the Sonic X Abridged series that somebody is putting together and working on. They moved the deadline. They were going to have the deadline for voice actors to like the 26th or something of this month, but they moved it to the end of this year just to get the voice actor auditions in. I may actually need to start spreading the word to people and say, hey, if you're a voice actor and you want to audition, you should totally go here and audition for this so we could get this project on the road. I'll probably talk to the audition directors and the actual producers of the show and see what they think, and if they like the idea, I maybe, just may, start advertising that somewhere. We'll see. Well, I guess that about does it for this. Besides, one of the main things we were going to do with this show, well, maybe not one of the main things, but one of the fun things that we were going to do with this show.
Yeah, which was the improv. As we've mentioned earlier, we were going to do the improv thing, and we still need suggestions. The improv thing is where we get one character each, and we also get something to talk about. And we're just going to have to try to play those characters and talk about that subject.
It's kind of like the whose line is it anyway for voice actors is what we're kind of aiming.
So, Chris, I just thought of something, and we're going to now have our first improv session. Are you ready?
Okay, sure, let's go for it. What do we got?
You're the Joker, and I'm the Joker, and we're going to talk about toasters.
Okay.
Excuse me, who are you?
I could ask you the same question, funny-looking dude over there.
Well, I'm the Clown Prince of Crime. Have you heard about toasters?
Toasters? Oh, those lovely things. Have you seen those things in the market?
Excuse me, are you bragging about the toasters? Toasters are horrid little things. One killed me earlier. Wait, no, was that bats? Is the Batman a toaster? I don't know. Oh, who cares? This is hilarious.
The Bat Toaster.
So yeah, that's improv. So no, there you had a little taste of what it could be. You can say any character you want to say. It could be your own character. It could be Ernie from Sesame Street or anyone. Just send in characters, send in things to talk about, and we have to do it.
Yes, and I would like to remind, we do want to do this for a PG audience. We do want to keep this kind of not just totally awkward, but also clean for the children that may be watching this show. Or listening to the show, I should say.
This will be clean for any toaster listening.
Exactly.
So yeah. Chris, we forgot something.
What's that?
What's the email for the podcast?
Right! That's important.
We should have mentioned that like an hour ago.
That would have been an easy thing for you guys to start sending us improv suggestions. You guys were probably sitting there screaming at us. We would love to give you suggestions, but how?
Chris, what's the email?
We actually made an email specifically for Voice Action Podcast.
Woo.
And it's very hard to remember, so I guess that you guys need to list it in. Grab a pen and paper. It's voiceactionpodcast@gmail.com.
Did you just say broadcast?
I probably did, so let me go ahead and say that again. It's voiceactionpodcast@gmail.com. I know that's hard to remember. That's going to be the email we're going to use. It's even going to be in the description below. Feel free to send us improv suggestions, feedback about the show, fan mail, whatever you want to do. Feel free to send that there. We may pick and choose a little bit out of the comment section, but if you send something to the email, it is something that both John and I will check for sure.
Yeah.
Because that's one of those things we're going to basically check every day just to be sure that we're getting your emails and we're being prompt enough to let you guys know that we're reading what you're sending to us. We're not ignoring you.
We're actually paying attention.
Exactly. We're doing everything we can to pay attention because we don't want to just make this about us or about the show. We want to be able to let you guys hear things that you guys want to hear too. So,
if you have any questions or anything else, just send it to voiceactionpodcast@gmail.com. And, thanks for listening. I've been John-Edvard.
And this is Chris Rosewood. We'd like to thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you guys sticking with us for so long. And,
Bye!
Bye! Roll credits! Oh, wait, we don't have credits.
We couldn't afford those.
We don't have the budget for credits.
Quick, run!
Quick, play me off, Johnny!